All right. Well, Casey, you kind of opened the door on this conversations that you should be having with your borrowers. What I was going to say, and then I want to open it up. What I was going to say is the biggest thing is you should be communicating because it's all over the news. It's front and center, tariffs, stock market, interest rates, right? In that order. So, especially the customers that that you had them on the fence. I think Casey brought up, like I would be screenshotting the MBS shot screen from last October, September, October timeframe, and then just what just happened. And I think stole the thunder. You're like, hey, what's the rate? I'm locking it in when we get it. This idea that you can time, this idea that somehow you can time the market and you know when the lowest rate to hit is ridiculous because you just missed it again. And this is not the permanent rate. This is not the only rate that you're going to end up with. We're going to look for another opportunity. After 6 months goes by, we're going to look for another opportunity to save you some more money because at Zenith, you pay no lender fee, no appraisal fee refinance. So it's going to cost you around $1,200. As long as I can break even on that in a short enough period of time that it makes sense, we're going to take advantage of it. So, but what you should be doing is burning up the phone and making as many of those fucking calls as you possibly can. Who else wants to chime in? Casey, have you started having these conversations yet?
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of, I shouldn't say a whole bunch, but 4 or 5 of them already this week. You know, we're reaching out on Thursday, Friday saying like, hey guys, this might be a good opportunity. And this is people that had the same opportunity in September. And the conversation that I'm having with them is they're going, well, yeah, but what if we miss out? What if rates go down? And I go, great, that's fine. But let me show you the difference between where you were at in September versus now. If you had this rate in September that we had talked about and you had taken advantage of it, how much would you have saved between then and now? Would you have missed out over that 6 months on a potential lower rate? No. But you cost yourself thousands of dollars by not taking advantage at that same time. Let's decide what is that rate. And if we hit it, I'm going to lock it and I'm going to call you and tell you that we're saving money. I'm going to look at this for you. And they're like, great. Like that, then we don't even have to think about it. So it's just really showing them the difference between then, now, how small that window can possibly be. I mean, shoot, we had that window for what, 4 hours on Friday. You know, I'm curious how many people, I know Hobber got one locked in on a refi then. Did anyone else? Jack got 2. I'd imagine Ryan,
one.
did you guys get any in
Just
there?
one.
No.
Just one.
No,
Right.
I don't.
Yeah,
It's
one of the
quick.
guys just emailed me today. They're like, "Thank you so much." Because yeah, it was a VA.
I would say that email. That's a really good one. I would tell you what I would do is I would save that email, Chris, and I'd be like, here's what one of the clients said to me who listened to my advice. And everybody else is like, oh shit, I missed it. Right? That's funny.
Yeah.
You can also
go
ahead,
for it. No, I was gonna say go for it, G.
I was just gonna say you can also, with the ones that are slower to reply, like they're always slower, you can inflict a little more financial pain, kind of twist that knife a little bit by, I sent out a loom showing them the market, the MBS, and said, hey, I know we missed it in September because I know I didn't hear back from you from a week. And, I just hate that you've been paying $343 extra per month every month since then. I think we can do this again at about $320 per month in savings. And, they called back right away, but it was Saturday and the overnight pricing wasn't quite, wasn't there. And then Monday happened. So, but like five people, I think I sent them a loom similar to that on Monday that I'm like, hey, here's the market. We lost it. It was Thursday and Friday. Let's connect so we can make sure we have a set target that I can just shoot for and lock it for you. So we'll see. And I did lock up.
I did the same thing, G. That was a loom with the MBS chart, just saying like, hey guys, this is where we were. That's how quick the window was. And I imagine same for you. People responded right away.
Once you see Monday, and you can, with Loom, you can text the link too, right? If they're more texters than emailers, right? You can text them that link and they'll get the video on their phone, which is really handy. A purchase on Monday, I locked them in because they were negotiating all weekend. I knew they were under contract. I locked them in right away. And then in the video, I was just like, hey, I locked you here when it was here. Now it's here. And they were just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You know, there's no shopping going on, but you can show people very Monday and Tuesday. It's like, hey, it took 2 weeks to get to this level and it took 1 day to give it all back. So when it's time to act, you got to act quick.
I think
Yeah,
like
I think that's exactly what you should have done, by the way. Great job. Like most loan officers won't take that risk and just like, I'm just locking it. I'll call you later. Like, and then I was like, hey, just so you know, I locked you in and here's why, because you're making a really good decision for the borrower. I mean, at the end of the day, and you can always, if they're pissed off, it's like, well, I can cancel the lock if you want. I mean, like, it's not like you, it's not like you did them a disservice. They're never going to tell you to do that. So great job. Go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
No, this is very reminiscent of COVID when we all got sent home and the market should have been doing something it wasn't doing, and we just had spreadsheets set up. So I try to tee up everything where you start treating your refinances like pre-approvals if you've got people who are wanting to do that. And just start getting them to get you all your paperwork. Cause I had same thing. I had clients over the weekend that got me all their paperwork, but by the time they did, the 6-6 that we were hoping for is now 7 and an 8. So I met with them yesterday, said, hey, I've got everything. Here's what we're looking for. I'm going to call you as soon as I'm locking you in, and that's when I'll pull credit and everything else. But this is kind of what we're doing. So just getting them to treat it more like like with the pre-approvals, like when we get pre-approved to buy a house, we're looking for the perfect house. Now that we're in the house, I'm giving you a pre-approval to look for the perfect rate or the perfect payment. And so let's tee everything up. And so then I can watch and I know what you're looking for. And as soon as it hits, I can go ahead and grab it. And so like one of my clients who we locked on Friday, I text them on Tuesday and I go, just so you know, if we hadn't locked you on Friday, we'd be at 7 and an 8. And I have them at 6-6. So they're like, oh, geez, thanks so much. And so they're super happy too. So same thing. So just treating it a little bit more like hey, we're looking for the best financial option for you long term. And what are your long-term financial goals? And really having that more of an annual mortgage review conversation with the clients and treating it that way so that we know what's the goal, where are we looking? And then you have an opportunity to kind of slow roll some of the other conversations, like, do you have a financial advisor, or how are you guys investing? Like, I see these debts on here. Like, what are we doing here? I've been telling people, I've got a couple people who've been making like $400 and $500 extra principal payments to their loan, but have a shit ton of credit card debt. And I'm like, stop it. And just like being able to really have that conversation. It's like, don't, like, we're looking for a refinance and you're in debt. So take that $500 and put it over here instead. So now you're able to really be that financial consultant. And it just creates a ton more value for your client.
Ryan, you look like you were going to add something.
No, I mean, I think at this point, echoing what everybody's saying, I've just had a lot of success with scheduling calls with clients, like via either annual reviews that have been really good. That's been kind of teeing up when we're going to start having a more serious conversation. Because everybody, like Casey, everybody's talked about, everybody loves the strike rate. When you tell them that's what you're going to do, they're like, yeah, do that. That's great. Right. And those that don't do it in their like newsletters to clients, always like give them a CTA to like schedule a call with you. So like always have some sort of like call to action. That's like, I think it's best for us to schedule a 15-minute call. We'll review where you're at, where you want to set your strike rate. And so I've had some good traction with that too, just to have clients reach out to me. So I've had a few of those this week as well.
Excellent. Right on. Mike, you got anything to add?
I think it's been covered pretty well, actually.
Yeah, don't forget
Well,
about
again,
that. Like,
over communicate.
that refi cost of waiting on MBS is pretty cool. It's like a graph, so
Yeah, good call. Good call, Toph.
you can zoom that our Loom G.
Mhm.
I'd be over communicating right now is what I'd be doing. I'd be talking to my agents. I'd be making sure those agents come in. These agents, you think about how tough the last couple of years have been for a lot of these agents. Just being a calm voice in the storm that this is, because their customers are freaking out. If the customers are making the decisions, it's like, yeah, I'm just going to wait. This is crazy. And, you know, the cost of waiting. So good job on that one, G, for sure. Let's talk about Huntington real quick.
Well, just really quick, Dave,
so-
just a thought that popped into my head right there is, you know, I love this conversation about the strike rates. I think it'd be a great opportunity to talk to agents, right? For the agents that have all these people that were on the sidelines, they haven't bought because the rates were too high. And if we went through that same type of conversation with them or some type of marketing, it's like, look, we had a 4-hour window. If you give me all of those people who are sitting on the sidelines, we can have this strike rate conversation so that we could have tried to go in and jump something, and put a placeholder. I know it's kind of a little bit of a gray area, but I've done that before, and a placeholder with a property and then go out and get a contract really quick. Might be something that you could utilize to get some traction there. Go ahead.
So let's talk about Huntington really quick, just to fill everybody in. I know some of you guys know this, but Huntington has the dumbest business model. So they have this amazing doctor program, 100% financing for doctors with no MI. But they use it as leverage to get business from everybody else for all the other agency products that they sell, because they know they're the only one with this really cool doctor program. And but their agency pricing for all of the products are never as good as everybody else's, right? Like, so as evidenced by what you guys can find. And so what they do is they leverage the doctor program to get all the other business. And if they're not getting enough of the other business, they say, hey, we're not going to let you have the doctor program if you don't give us more agency business, even though you're going to make less money on the agency business. And we're like, you guys are dicks. So we still have to play that game, and their goal is in volume, not units. That 25% of the volume is portfolio doctor programs, and 75% of the business is the agency business. I had a call with Pat yesterday because he sent me an email and said, we're going to have to cut you off. And I called him and I go, dude, when are you going to start doing buy downs? Because like 60, 70% of what we do right now is a freaking buy down. He's like, is it really that high? And I'm like, well, dude, yes, it's really that high. And rates are in the high 6s and low 7s. People don't want that interest rate. And so, so he's like, well, that's really good feedback. I'll take that back. I didn't realize it was that much. And I said, and the other thing I know that Fairway does a lot of business with them. They're about ready to cut Fairway off because Fairway wants to use E-notes as much as they can, and they won't do E-notes either. And it's like, you guys are like one of the biggest banks in the country, and you're just like archaic in these two areas that make no sense. And it's like you want to cut off all this other business that you could do. You'd get my agency business if you were able to do a buy down. Now, Giuseppe, you were talking about a way that you can use LoanPass to find an opportunity to have that business. What did you say? You were talking yesterday about when you're searching for the best price. What did you say to me?
Let's see if I'm muted. No. Okay. Well, no, just in LoanPass, you can't clearly, right? I think we were all trained up front to click on the blended best pricing or whatever. So you actually see the best pricing, which of course is what you would want most of the time. But then it's kind of tricky to see the investor. So, I mean, that obviously doesn't work. That I'm sure that's not getting any loans over to Huntington or even me looking at Huntington, if it's 50 basis points worse, but maybe with the 50 basis points for LMIT, you can get there. Like, I'm not even seeing it. So it's almost like I have to retrain myself to, on every deal, check the address for LMIT and then just go down and find Huntington and see what shows up instead of looking for the best price. I mean, if we want to make an effort to try and save this.
I put this in the contract and checklist for the LOA to check LMIT. Might be a good way to not have to think about it too. Just 2 cents on that too.
Yeah.
The point is that we need to get them some agency business. So Giuseppe has 3 doctor loans that are pre-approved right now. I talked to Pat and I go, dude, you can't like pull the rug out from under those deals on us. And he's like, okay, well, you got to get me some agency business and I'll go to bat for you. And I think he will. Pat, this isn't Pat's idea. This is just, he thinks it's crazy too. So what I want to encourage us to do, and unless we're going to lose the product, is do as much of that as you
And-
can.
Lose the product and all the jumbo products that everyone's doing, except me. I'm not doing
Right.
that.
So we've got to get them both. Like, so they have some really good jumbo product, but it's a stupid system. Like if we had the buy downs, I know that we would have an opportunity here. So I know it's going to be a little tricky. Maybe on the refinances, checking your refinances to see if there's a way to do it in that environment. That could be a way for us to pick it up. Jacqueline's the only one right now with a loan that just got clear to close. It's a $500,000 loan, but we've closed a couple of pretty good sized jumbo deals there. And so our ratio is like 90% portfolio and 10% agency. So it's pretty inverted. So we've got some work to do to keep it up. So I'm just letting you know, we want to keep the product. I think it's a good product. We want to have access to that stuff, but we got to spread the wealth around. I've improved the margin. I've just improved the margin on Huntington right now on like that one. So it should start showing up a little bit better. I just don't know if it's going to be that much better. It's never dramatically worse than everybody else, but some guys come in and out too. Like PHH has been our best priced investor. And I had a meeting with them last week and they're doing a really good job for us. They're buying our loans really quick. It's going really well. So I like that. And I like that relationship as well, but we still need to work on we're still working on this relationship. That Westgate Bank approval is ready. I just can't get the freaking insurance company to do essentially an insurance endorsement for the investor. We're supposed to have it any day. So hopefully we'll have West Bank turned on here pretty quick. Chase is still working on our approval. Truist is just not showing up Truist is done and approved, but LoanPass had to do some work to reconfigure their rate sheet in their system. They had Truist in there. So just a product update that I would share with you guys. That's that. Let's talk about operations.
I was gonna
So
say,
I let Alec.
I was looking at Huntington. It's not too much worse than like today, maybe 20 bips. So, and are they cutting us off in general or just the doctor loan?
No, just that portfolio.
Oh, okay, cool. Just such a
So
weird
any
thing.
jumbo.
Like, we're gonna cut you
Jumbo
off.
and
Any
doctors.
jumbo.
We're gonna cut you off so we don't get any more business. like okay, so you're gonna get zero instead now?
And if they have the buy down, I know, Mike, maybe you can speak to this, just the general secondary marketing approach that companies take.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday on Mastermind. I mean, Huntington's always been that way. They basically just use that as a product to be able to, fill agency product without having to pay up for it. And they've always been that way, and they cut people off. They always have.
It's goofy. Anyway, like I said, if they did the buy downs, we'd be fine. We wouldn't be having this conversation because you guys have been able to get some buy down business to them for sure. So ops, I let Allie go this morning. Sometimes I hate my job. That was a horrible conversation to have. But it was the right thing to do. And I don't have any regrets about it. I just hate how it's going to affect a single mom. But that said, we got a pretty good handle on how things are going to go going forward in operations in the short term. So you'll notice Jonathan isn't on the call. Jonathan has moved back over into operations. Really happy he's staying here. He's a great kid. He did a great job as a processor for us in the past, and working in the operations department, he was phenomenal. Everybody likes him. He's smart. He'll do a great job, and he's excited. He's actually really excited to get back to work in this area. So he's going to take over the pipeline that Lauren is leaving on Friday. He's going to take over that pipeline so that Nicole is getting trained by both Jonathan and Chelsea. Both Jonathan and Chelsea are working with Nicole to get her trained. Nicole is a very smart, very sharp girl. She's done a phenomenal job in shipping and post-closing. It's actually, she's really a sharp girl. So I'm really excited that we have her. And between the three of those guys, I think we have a really solid team right now in place, because Ryan, this whole time, Nicole's been documenting all of her processes in shipping and post-closing. So it's all documented, checklist, and here you do this, then you do this, then you do this. What a concept. And to have it all written down and documented so somebody else could do the job. And so she's going to be doing that and training Jonathan at the same time. She's told us that, like, yeah, this doesn't, I have extra capacity in this job. So she definitely has the time for this. So I'm excited. I think that between the three of them, they're going to do a really good job. I've temporarily promoted, for lack of a better term, Kelly into a lead operations person. Kelly's been an operations manager in the past. We've talked about her maybe taking the job. She's thought about it a lot. We've had a couple of, surface level conversations about it. She goes like, I just don't think this is what I want to do right now. I don't think I have the personality for the job. And I would agree. I don't think Kelly does have the kind of personality that the job takes, but she's no problem right now stepping in. Between her and Renee, they have a ton of knowledge and experience. And so I'm confident that we're not going to see a drop off here, but we're going to be paying really close attention. Amy has stepped in. She's got some pipeline management things that she's working on with the team to make sure that there's no pipeline issues. They went over Lauren's pipeline loan by loan yesterday to find out exactly where everything stands, and to make sure that, and so they had a couple of long meetings yesterday with the whole group, with Lauren, and then one that included Chelsea, where that included Jonathan, Nicole, and Amy, and they just went through everything that's happening and to make sure that there's not going to be any drop off. So I'm actually pretty excited about it. It feels like it's pretty calmed down with a lot of the work that Jacqueline was doing after Kim left. There's some really good functionality in place that is making this a lot better. As far as I'm gonna start this search over again. We had an interview yesterday, wasn't that great? Want to start the search over again very deliberately and with a very clear picture of the kind of person that I'm looking for. And we're going to get it. We have to get it right. You never really know people until they move in with you. And when that comes to marriage and it comes to work. So unfortunately, this didn't work out with Allie. I'm really disappointed. I really liked her as a person. And I think her heart's in the right place, but she needs to get her stuff dialed in so that she's going to be in a better position to take care of herself and the job that she has. So anyway, that's what's going on there. Mary Jo, you said you had, does anybody have any questions before I let Mary Jo ask her question?
I have a comment. I mean, we got through, remember early COVID, I think it was like Travis and Jonathan as our processors.
Kelsey was there too, I think, right?
Okay, yeah. If we can get through that, I think we can manage.
No. You forget. Remember Danny and Vera?
Yeah, I left them out because they didn't show up to work, and it was literally Travis and Jonathan.
Dude, that guy. Oh my gosh. If we can get through that, we're fine.
Especially COVID. It was like, dude, it was insane. It was so busy.
It was horrible.
So
I asked Ashley this question yesterday. I was like, is it us? She's like, no, it's not us. I've been here 12 years. It's not us. People are flaky sometimes. And it's just, that's the truth, is that sometimes people are flaky. Mike, you've built a lot of companies, right? You've been part of so many of these. Is this unusual? Is this shocking that you have to go through this shit?
It's always hard to find the right person, skill-wise and cultural-wise. And, when we find them, they're not cheap though, right? And so it's just kind of, but yes, it is very normal to find the right person. And when you find the right person, skill and culture-wise, cling to them.
Yeah. Run on. Mary Jo, go ahead. What's your question?
Okay.
Or what's your feedback?
Yeah. So there has been an interesting shift in what I've noticed from a recruiting. Recruiting sounds weird because some recruiters are like just pushing so hard and they're coming at you with like rate sheets and numbers and pricing and all of this stuff. And that's definitely not how Dave and I approach this at all. So, but there's nevertheless been a dramatic shift in what I've noticed just in this past week in the types of calls and answers that I'm getting in Colorado. So yesterday I reached out to some recruiter colleagues of mine who work in other companies, but who also work in the Colorado market from time to time.
and they agreed with me that they saw the same shift in Colorado. And so I'm just wondering, from a loan officer
What's the
perspective,
shift?
so call answers, for example, last week and the week before that and so on, I would probably get a 50% answer rate in calls. Like people would pick up the phone half of the time. And of the times they would pick up, I would get a yes at least half of the time to connect with Dave, or at least an let's stay in touch answer. That number has dropped to a 1 out of 4 answer rate earlier in the week. And yesterday it was a 1 out of 10 answer rate. And every answer has been very kind, but a no, which is okay. And you're gonna have weeks like that. And I have my own theories as to what's happened, but I would rather hear from a loan officer perspective, what you think might be happening in Colorado. Colorado isn't the only state that my peers have noticed this shift has happened in, but Colorado, they agree, has been a part of this shift, this change in recruiting just over this past week. So I'm curious from a loan officer perspective, what that might be, that change, so that if I need to change my approach in calls the rest of the week, I'm sensitive to that and can adjust my approach. That's my question.
My thoughts are, I mean, last week people saw rates dropping, right? I don't know if people are going to want to switch companies when they're about to have a refi boom. That's maybe my thought on
Yep.
that. Like, because they're going to miss out if they're kind of in that transition.
Good thought. Yep.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or just the instability and not sure what's going to happen. You want to stick with a known entity that at least how to get your files through the system there. You know who to ask for favors, things like that, rather than picking up and starting over someplace else.
Yeah, onto that, probably the uncertainty that's going on around the entire world and country right now, like based on a tweet.
Just be market driven.
People are just so uncertain that they're like, I'm not doing anything right now. I mean, I talk to a buddy I see every morning at coffee in the neighborhood, and he's a really, they own Showami. I don't know if you all know what that is. It's like a showing agent app for realtors to like it's like Uber for like showings. So we always chat about the market, and yeah, he's like, we're like a 10-person company, and we're even like putting a pause on things because we have no idea what the hell is going on right now. So that's probably part of it, is people are just uncertain about tomorrow and what's going on right now.
Gotcha. That's great feedback. Anybody else? Any ideas or anything?
I mean, Mike, didn't you say it's like people don't really make a move on a switch or something until like October or something? Or maybe you said that
Well,
too.
yeah, I think what we're talking about is the market, the uncertainty are magnifying the traditional slowdown, right? Because it's kind of two things. You've got the uncertainty, you've got, well, could there be a refi thing hitting? But it all ties to, you also have the spring thaw. And now people who are buying homes, and people don't like to move in the middle, right? When they're thinking about moving is when their pain is the greatest, which is in the winter, and they're not closing loans.
Yep. Nope. I agree 100%. That's been my experience too. That Q2, Q3, those are the busy seasons. People don't want to change in the middle of that and get used to new systems. Like Chris said, they don't want to have to notify all of their CRM that they've moved. So usually Q4 and Q1 are the times that you see heavy recruiting happening in our industry. But it was such a dramatic shift from one week to the next, that I thought that perhaps there might be something else going on. But if that's it, then that's okay.
I think it's just like they're saying, and like G said, I mean, you look at what's happening in the markets and the turmoil, people are like, you know what, I don't want to mess with it. So, the advice I would give you is, a cold call, yeah, I'm not going to answer a lot, and I'm going to be saying no. How do we give them some information on what a differing value proposition could be? Because the loan officer in their mind, when they are always willing in the past, or more so to take the calls, like, I'll see what your rates are, what your program is. I don't have business. Are you going to give me leads? But if we can talk, when I've seen recruiting work through the summer, it's more about what is a differentiating value proposition of, hey, I know you guys are all willing to talk when you've got no business, but sometimes it's worth taking a look at what could happen now, because it's not just about making a move when you have no business. It could be about making a move to capitalize on more business during the good times or something like that. Seems to resonate better through, those types of quarters where people traditionally don't move.
Yeah, great ideas. Thank you, Mike. That's good. All right,
Maybe
thanks.
you can,
Right.
maybe you can offer them a, if you switch over, you can do a past client refi promo for all your people.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. Work that in there, Dave. That's good. That's,
Or
Yeah.
I would do that anyway.
Yeah.
I would do that anyway. So,
yeah.
Do they know that?
well, we haven't gotten to that conversation with anybody yet.
Yeah, the approach that Dave and I take with people has nothing to do with putting any kind of pressure on them or making them feel they're under any kind of spotlight, or to put them in a position where they would have to receive information about another company they may not be willing to take. It's strictly, Dave thinks you're awesome. Dave wants
Relationship
you,
building. It's
kind of
just
thing.
relationship building, guys.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
starts there.
build a relationship, gain trust, decide if you think they're a good fit, and keep moving the relationship forward. So,
Wait, I thought we were supposed to offer them a big bonus and mess up their pricing sheet to get them to come to us so that they trust us more.
Oh goodness, I
Well,
know.
there's somebody who's learned the business well.
and then just sue them when they don't like it anymore, and they just leave, and then just file a lawsuit and get your money back, call back your money.
Gosh.
Mhm.
On
Yeah,
those,
It's astounding to me, the things I hear in this business. It's just astounding.
on
like,
some of those
oh my
thoughts,
God.
Mary Jo, as you may want to even try a little bit of an A/B approach on a couple of things too, and have something. I would be happy to talk to a couple of people and kind of go into something that's like, so you have your A approach, which is building relationships and no pressure and everything else. Maybe option B, and send a couple of things that might get somebody who's like, I'll connect you with somebody who's known to help people build their businesses. His top client is still, even in this market at this time, she's closing, 30 plus purchases a month.
Mhm.
Is that something you'd be interested in learning how you can do? And let's just see. A/B approach. I'll talk to a couple of people.
Yeah, that's a good point, Mike. Let me chime in on that too, right? Because I think at the end of the day, we know how good our guarantees are. And so talking about, I mean, not that I wanted to get out of as much, but like we win so much. We beat cash on a regular basis. Like loan officers get fed the BS about how they can grow their business and, all these tech systems is going to blow up their, their production when it's all BS, right? So I don't know. That could be another thing. Like, I don't know if you know much about that, MJ, but like we win more than any other lender in this market.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
maybe frame it like instead of you can make 275 bips on this loan. It's like, well, with our guarantees and our refi promo, you're gonna close like twice as many loans. So you're gonna, you're not gonna make 275 basis points per loan, but you're gonna make more money, and you're gonna be more successful, and you're gonna get more realtor referrals.
Yeah. I don't
Like-
know. I wouldn't necessarily phrase it like that if it were me. Like, just do more loans, bro.
Yeah, no,
Some people don't want to hear that.
But anyway, the thought is maybe just try some A/B types approaches and try to vary it up a little bit. And let's just see if we can get some traction and other things. And as you find the traction, that's where you're going to really establish why it slowed.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
What is
there's
it
definitely
that
been a
resonates?
shift. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely been a shift, especially just in the past week. And that's okay. Sometimes that's normal. The strategy can't be the same the entire year, especially as the environment changes. Your strategy needs to shift as well, and that's fine. So yeah, I love that idea, Mike. Dave, maybe we can connect about that more tomorrow during our time to try and work how to sort of work Mike's offer in to our work with our prospects. And guys, I appreciate, again, this is y'all are my win because I have the best loan officers in Colorado, and I truly believe that here to give me some insight into what's happening. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Jo. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time. Have an awesome day. Keep your attitude, commitment, effort ace. See you, buddy.